How's it going, guys? This is Daniel, this is DragonCrafts. We are less than 1 month away from starting with Master Rule 5. I remind you that as from 1st April of 2020, we are going to start playing under the new Master Rule. Or, to be more precise, Fusion, Synchro and Xyz monsters will now be able to be summoned to the main monster zone instead of needing to summon them in the extra monster zone or to a zone where a link monster points to. And with that, lots of changes are going to come in Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially when it comes to deck building. And so for today's video, I have for you 10 fusion based decks for the Master Rule 5 of 2020. Without further ado, let's go and get right into it. So the first fusion deck that I would like to talk about here is none other than Cyber Dragons. Now, Cyber Dragons in the Link format were still a good deck because they were getting mixed with Orcas decks or with other decks that could basically put them on an edge. However, I believe that with the introduction of the next Master Rule, Cyber Dragons will get a huge advantage. And why is that? Because most of their fusion monsters rely on removing your opponent's card. For example, we have Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon, Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Mentioning only those two, I guess that Cyber Dragons will be quite good in the next Master Rule. And then we go to Red Eyes. Now, in the late releases of cards, Red Eyes have seen a lot of fusion support, and mainly with the use of a card such as Red Eyes Fusion. Red Eyes Fusion is a very powerful card to go for Red Eyes place. However, with the awaited introduction of Dragoon with Red Eyes, which still we don't know when it's going to be imported to the TCG, Red Eyes will definitely have an edge in the next Master Rule. The third deck I want to talk about here is Predaplants. Merely I'm mentioning this deck because I see a lot of potential going into the Master Rule. And with cards like, for example, Predaplant Verte Anaconda, this deck doing fusions is extremely capable of doing it. And especially since now there is no link monster restrictions, therefore the deck can really do well in Master Rule 5, especially using the Predaplant counters and summon a monster like Predaplant Dracostapelia, which can also negate those monster effects which will have Predaplant counters. Then another deck that I think that will be somewhat powerful in the next Master Rule is ABC. Now, ABC has been out of the meta for quite some time now. However, with the introduction of a link monster like Union Carrier, I really believe that ABC deck could really do well in the next format. I don't know if it will be like a top tiering deck. However, as a rogue deck, I think the deck would do pretty well. Then we have to mention Gem Knights. Gem Knights, although they have their FTK capability, it's a deck that is really based on fusion summoning. We have seen that even in the Link era, in Master Rule 4, the Gem Knight FTK was always a good deck to go for, but I strictly believe that going into the next Master Rule, Gem Knights will even have more and more power. Another deck I would mention is Dragon Maids. Now, Dragon Maids has always been like an underrated competitive deck, and I believe as well. However, with the next Master Rule, things can change. First of all, in Eternity Code, there are 2 more Dragon Maid cards to be released, which I strictly believe they will boost the deck, making it much more powerful than it already is. So I really believe that going into the next Master Rule, Dragon Maids will do somewhat good. Another deck I want to talk about is Fluffas. With the introduction of Master Rule 4, Fluffas have took a considerable hit in their strategy. However, now with the new Master Rule, Fluffas, I think they will get back into action. Also, for the fact that now they can use also a card like Frightfare Patchwork, which will definitely help Fluffas in their strategies. So I believe that in the next Master Rule we're going to see Fluffas being played more commonly. Then we have Gladiators. Now, Gladiator Beasts, I believe, is the first competitive fusion deck that we have ever seen. However, again, with Master Rule 4, the deck has took a considerable hit. True, there is a Link monster to support gladiators, however they couldn't really do very well in the meta. However, Master Rule 5, I think it will be beneficial also for gladiator beasts, also including some of the new cards that we have had in the recent months. So yeah, I really believe that gladiator beasts could do really well in the next Master Rule. The ninth deck I want to talk about is Heroes. Now, Heroes, even in the current Master Rule, is still a threat to be reckoned with. However, in the next Master Rule, Heroes will be free to be summoned wherever you want. So I guess that their combos will be more and more dangerous. And yes, I believe that Heroes will do very well in the next upcoming formats. And the 10th and last deck I want to talk about is none other than Shadows. Shadows have been given a huge advantage with the release of their structure deck, which is Shadow Showdown. And yeah, a lot of new cards have been introduced to the Shadow deck, and especially when combined with the Invoked engine, Shadows are really powerful. And we have seen in the last YCS, meaning YCS Utrecht, that Shadows is actually a deck to go for, especially in the next Master Rule. So these are the 10 fusion decks that I have in mind. I'm sure I have forgotten a lot of other decks to mention, but I believe that these are the best decks if you want to compete in the next Master Rule. Obviously I will have more videos talking about the top 10 Synchro decks that I believe will go into Master Rule 5, and also the top 10 Xyz decks as we're going into Master Rule 5. And if you agree with this list, please leave a like and let me know in the comment section below. Also subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notifications button so that you will know when a new video has been uploaded. And with that, I believe is the end of today's video. I wish for you to have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.